Let's get into the audio now. The audio in OBS is around here, and the first thing you want to do is click the cog next to the mixer in OBS Studio and make sure your audio is in sync. So here I've got advanced audio properties, which I can use. In fact, maybe I can actually drag this down a bit. Actually, yeah, can I do that? Or is that going to be confusing? No, it's probably better if I keep everything big. There we go. So click the cog here by the mixer, and you get advanced audio properties. One of them is volume. So like if I take this down to 50%, it'll be 50% of the volume, or at least it should be. So I want to be back up at 100. Let's try that again, 100%. You can downmix to mono if you need to. I know I discovered actually today Facebook Live only streams shock horror in mono, so I can't do any mono fun on any stereo fun, sorry, on Facebook. But youtube.com/musicradiocreative I have working in stereo. So tell me on YouTube, if I pan over here to the left, it's, hang on, I might need to downmix and then do that. It won't let me move the pan for some reason. Don't know why. But anyway, I can do some panning later and test that out. But the sync offset I can change. So if I make that like this, so 5 milliseconds, and go like this, am I in sync or am I further out of sync? Let me know in the comments, please, whether I'm in sync or further out of sync. I've got a feeling I might be further out of sync. Hello to DJ Infinity from Germany. Tyrone from Florida. Thank you for all you do for audio and the audio community. You're a blessing, Mike. Keep up what you do. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. So that's how you sync up your audio first and foremost. And the best way to test the sync offset if you are not streaming is click the start recording button down in the bottom right, and you can record like an FLV video that you can play back in something like VLC and take a look to see how your audio sync is before you actually go live and look a bit silly when you're going, hello, how are you? Hang on, I need to be a ventriloquist for that, don't I? I'm really good. No, can't do ventriloquism. Right, so that's your sync offset, very important to do. So Kaylee says it's further out of sync. I think I'll stick with 1 millisecond sync there. Now we get into the really good stuff here, which is where you click into your audio here, and you've got filters. You can't see because my head's in the way, sorry. Up, just about there. Filters and properties. First of all, properties will bring up a window here, which allows you to select your device like a built-in microphone, but I suggest like the Sapphire. That's my audio interface, or default. I know my Sapphire is the default audio interface, so I'm using that. So clearly my change made me further out of sync. That's good to know. So properties is your audio selector. Sorry, I'll duck. And filters, this is where we can start making your audio and your microphone sound better by adding in some audio filters. So have a look over here, just up there at the filters for the mic, and you'll see what kind of stuff we can add in. Not only can you add in compressors and also a bit of gain, noise gating and noise suppression, but the best thing that I'm really excited about with OBS Studio is you have the possibility to add VST 2.x plugins. Essentially, that means the old style VST plugins. So VST 3 plugins won't work. Native Mac AU plugins won't work. But if you've got just a traditional VST plugin, then you can have some fun with that. And I have two free plugins I'm going to show you towards the end of this video that will help you sound a whole lot better in OBS Studio. Because one thing OBS doesn't currently have is EQ for the voice, and we all know how important EQ is to get right on your voice, especially when you're live streaming. And I've seen other tutorials where, people are using Audacity to do that, or, you can do it in Audition as well. I'll show you over here in my good old favorite Adobe Audition. I've actually got it set up here to record on. Let me show you how I do that just quickly if you wanted to go that method. But I'm going to show you how to do it natively in OBS Studio. You'd just do a new session. You'd make sure you're recording in a mono track, like I know that's my mic channel, and then arm for record, hello, 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 and then do this, and then it's going to start playing back your audio. And then you can go in, you can add on a whole load of effects. That's the Adobe Audition way, but we're looking at OBS Studio here. So let's get started with this. Oh, Alpha says you can change the file type you record in OBS Studio. That's actually really, really handy to know, and something, yes, that I may well want to be getting up to and be doing in the future, because FLV isn't really the most user-friendly for me. So now I'm going to go into audio filters, and first of all, compressor. I'll show you how to set up the compressor in OBS Studio so it sounds rocking. Compressor, call it whatever you want. Right. Ratio far too high. A 10:1 compression is like flat line. So the default you get with OBS Studio is not really ideal. I would say about a 3:1 compressor. Might even be a bit too harsh for your ears, but see how you go with it. And then if I start moving this down in real time, you should hear the compressor start to kick in. So hello, 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 hello. Is that sounding different? Let me know in the comment whether that should start sounding really different and quite a little bit quieter as well. And then I'm going to bring it all the way back up to around 20. I'd say around 20 or maybe minus 30 if you're a little bit off the mic and you want some compression, but minus 20 should be about enough. So remember these settings, a ratio of 3:1, a threshold of around minus 20. Let's be OCD about that, minus 20. Attack and release, I like to set as fast as possible, so 1 millisecond on both, so you get that awesome kind of fluffy compression. And then you might want to just pop the output gain up by about 3 dB, because of course compression also reduces the size of the waveform. If I was working in Adobe Audition, I could show you the waveform, but OBS doesn't have a kind of monitor of the waveform, so you just have to kind of, you know, play it by ear and have a listen. Yeah, Kelly said it got a whole lot quieter when I was doing the threshold. Absolutely, that's what whacking down compression will do to your voice. But the compressor is pretty good, and PB the Vlogs is saying minus 20 is a pretty good and sweet setting. So look at that. This is what I have got over here on my screen so far. Ratio 3:1, threshold minus 20, attack 1, release 1, output gain 3 dB. Okay, that's your compressor. I can keep that on. And this is without the compressor. This is with the compressor. This is without the compressor. Okay, I'm going to leave it on, which kind of makes the next one, gain, redundant. You'd add gain in if you just simply wanted to turn the volume up of your audio. If you had a really quiet microphone and no one can hear you, then you could add some gain and you could start turning it up like that. But I'm going to remove that because I don't need any extra gain. Compressor has done everything I need. So that's pretty much the most handy feature in OBS Studio for making your voice sound better, as far as I am aware. But you can, of course, go into further detail here. Let's have a look at some of the other stuff. Noise gate and noise suppression. Right, noise gate, that's quite a cool feature, especially if you've got a noisy studio. If I was streaming this all live from my Mac and the fan was whirring up really loud, like that, I definitely want to use a bit of this. And I'd actually move the open threshold up. Put it around there, and the closed threshold I can put around here. Now I'm going to have to speak really loud to trigger it if I do this. Did you hear how it just went quiet when I started speaking? But if you set this too harsh, it will cut off those silent words like f and s. Have a listen to this. Fun, isn't it? You might notice some of my audio just clipping at the start there. That's the noise gate. It's great when I stop speaking because you'll hear complete silence. But then when I start speaking, you might notice a little delay. And of course, you can change the attack time and release time in particular. So let's go through this, right? Okay, minus 80 is usually a good setting, and minus 25. Anywhere between minus 30 or 20, you'll need to play with your own setup to see how that's going to work best for you. But attack time is how quickly you want it to start playing your audio again when it hears audio. So you might want to take that right the way down to 1. Hold time is how long it's going to hold the audio there, like playing, before it gates back in again. And the similar thing with the release time, it's how long it waits until it releases the noise gate and you get silence again. So again, leave those pretty liberal, because if you set them too harsh, you're going to start clipping your words. Noise gate is something I don't really like, and I have a pretty quiet studio anyway, so I am going to click the little off icon on the eye. I think it'd be nicer to have a speaker instead of an eye. Maybe OBS Studio can update that in the future. For audio, obviously for visuals, an eye is good, but maybe a little icon of a speaker with a cross through it, or without a cross through it for audio. But anyway, for the moment, it's an eye with a cross through to disable. Okay. Now, let's have a look at what else we can do. We can also go in to this, and this is noise suppression. The more of this I add, the watery and more washed out I'm going to sound. It's essentially reducing, I don't know why you'd use this if you had like a high-pitched hum or fan in your studio that was really annoying. You could do this. And as I drag it down, you're going to hear my voice really degrade in quality. Ready? Here it goes. Whoa, I'm going really down in quality. This is sounding... How is that sounding? Is that sounding pretty awful? That should sound pretty awful by now. If you're going to use this, -15 to -20 is around a sweet spot. But down here, and you'll start sounding like your low-quality MP3 from 1996, which is not really good. So let's switch off noise suppression. So as you can see so far, from what I am using in OBS Studio, I'm using just the compressor. Have a look at those settings again. 3:1 ratio, -20 threshold, attack 1, release 1, output gain 3. Hope that works for you. Right, okay, good. Finally, the treat. This is an exciting treat, and I can just make myself bigger for a second. Ooh, that's weird. I can't undo on this. Ooh, okay. This is the treat. I'm going to show you 2 free VST plugins. Yes, VST audio plugins work with OBS Studio. Very exciting way to make your voice sound better. And I'm going to show you 2 of my favorites. They're easy. They're free to download. Very easy to install. You won't have a problem at all. You can get these working with OBS, and then you can start sounding really sweet. Okay. So we'll go over to my browser here. I've got 2 windows open here. You can see the URLs at the top. They may be a bit small, so I might post them in the comments or in the link to this video so that you can actually access these. You've got this one first of all, Brainworks BX Clean Sweep V2. I'm going to look at that last because it's not as good as this one, and for free I am just amazed at what this plugin can do. It's from Voxengo. It's called Marvel GEQ, and it is, yes, free and cross-platform compatible. It works with Windows, it works with Mac, it's got a VST3 version, but we really want the VST version, so you can download the VST for Mac. There it goes into the downloads. Wait for it to get down. It's the DMG. Similar thing it would be on Windows. You just download the Win32 or Win64 download, and again, a similar kind of process that I'm about to show you for the Mac. Here we got people asking... Badanan is asking what mic I'm using. Well, I'm using the Audio-Technica AT4033. I really like it very much. And yeah, so that's all good. So let's have a look at this. Hopefully, if you're over on facebook.com/musicradiocreative, you're also enjoying the Facebook stream. It's on YouTube, it's on Twitch, it's on Periscope right now. And I'm going to, right, that's downloaded. I'm going to open that file there. Let it do its thing, and then it should pop out a window. That's right, with all these bits and bobs, license agreement and stuff. What you just want to do is you want to take the Marvel GEQ VST, make sure it's VST and not VST3, and drop it in the VST folder. And just authenticate it, and then you are good to go. Or you need to pop in my password here, and then that's done. Okay, so I've dropped the VST into the VST folder. That's just a shortcut link to my VST folder on my Mac. And now, by the way, this one I installed earlier, so I'll show you that one in a second. But let's look at the Voxengo Marvel GEQ. We'll go back to OBS, and we'll go into the cog here on audio. Properties, and no, not properties, that's to select your audio interface. Filters again. You see I've got my compressor. I'll remove the noise suppression and noise gate so as not to confuse you, because I'm definitely not using them. And we'll go into VST 2.x plugin, and I'll call this one Voxengo so as not to be confused later on. And then you just select a plugin, look through. I've got a few other plugins installed, but Marvel GEQ is the one I just installed. That's there. Open the interface, and here it is. Now, this is beauty. This is something I wish was native inside OBS, but it's just not. But there's a free plugin, so it's okay. Voxengo Marvel GEQ. And this is like the 20-band compressor you would see in Adobe Audition, which is absolutely... a treat, a graphical and an audio treat inside Adobe Audition. This one doesn't look too shabby either, and it's got some pretty sweet presets. So to start with, I'll walk you through the presets, and I'm going to get close mic so you can really hear the difference. Okay, so I'm going to pop into the presets button here. And I'm going to drag presets over to be above my head. Oh, that's nice. Look at that. Yeah, there they are. So you've got these presets. At the moment, I'm on the default preset. You can see that's default. We got bright and bassy, presence, side bass removal, mids boost, lo-fi, and ultra bass boost. I think out of all of them, I like bright and bassy the best, so I'll get to that one the last. Please post in the comments now, if you're watching live, what your favorite preset here is on the Voxengo Marvel GEQ. So let's start off with ultra bass boost. Are you ready for this? This is ultra bass boost. Let's have a listen to Ultra Bass Boost. How does that sound? This is Ultra Bass Boost. And notice how the bass frequencies have been boosted up there. Yep, that's right. Nice and bassy. Okay. Next one is Lo-Fi, and well, it's just rolled off the treble, so you should hear a lot of bass in my voice, and the mid-range is still intact, thankfully. But how does Lo-Fi sound? Let me know in the comments. I'd like to know your favorite preset here. Mids boost. This is mids boost. It boosts the mid-range of my voice from around the half a kilohertz right the way up to the 1 kilohertz mark. So mids boost probably, I would say, is quite good for commentary because it brings out the presence in your voice. So if you're doing commentary videos, mids boost could be a good bet. But you let me know how mids boost sounds in the comments to this video. Side bass removal. Whoa. Okay. Yeah, we got some cool, funky stuff going on there. So what we have got here is we have increased the bass and the treble. It could sound quite interesting. Let me know how it sounds. And there's some underlay going on here as well. So we've got a completely different mix here. There's two mixes going on. Could sound quite good. Presence. Let's listen to presence. This is presence. Now, I seem to remember presence, to me, sounded quite sibilant, and I wasn't too happy with the S's with presence, because as you can see, it boosts up the treble quite loud indeed. So what do you think of presence? Do you like presence? It definitely makes you sound a lot clearer, but is it good? And finally, I think this was my favorite when I was going through them. Bright and bassy. This is bright and bassy. How do I sound with bright and bassy on my voice? I think this one is pretty good, but you let me know in the comments to this live video right now what your favorite is. Bright and bassy, I think, for the win, but you can always have a play yourself. I mean, these controllers are totally movable, so I'm just going to change them so it won't be bright and bassy anymore. I can roll the treble right off like this, and then you'll just hear my voice like that, all nice and bassy. Or I can do the opposite thing. Let's bring back the treble again. Let's bring that all back up. Okay, so I sound like a normal human being, and we'll roll off the bass. Sometimes it's good to roll off bass frequencies anywhere below 100. I can probably get away with doing that and still not sound too bad. Might help to add that frequency back in, the 79 hertz frequency. I don't know, but you could even sound like, if I roll off 200 hertz and below, I sound like a radio imaging voice. This is the best music, only on your favorite station. So we'll go back to default again. And this is me as normal. Bright and bassy. Oh, I've changed bright and bassy now, so it sounds different. So yeah, we got a vote there for bright and bassy. Mids boost sounding the best. Other people saying bright and bassy is sounding pretty good. But you let me know what you liked out of all of those presets. But like I say, it's free. Voxengo Marvel GEQ. You can't beat it. It will just add to your wonderful chain and make things sound a lot better for you. Okay, so that is Voxengo. So remember, we've added the compressor, we've added the Voxengo EQ as well. Custom effects always work better, says Devil. Absolutely agree. The other one, side bass removal had a more balanced sound. So there we go. Okay. Some interesting votes coming in for different presets, but it's all about your ears. Use your ears and decide what sounds best to you. Bright and bassy, another vote for bright and bassy from Russell Honeywell. So thank you very much. Now we're going to get into what are we going to get into? Back into Chrome, and this is the website here for Plugin Alliance. You have to sign up to their website, but then you can download for free this wonderful BX Clean Sweep V2. It's got a Mac installer, Windows installer, even for Pro Tools as well, if you like. The Mac installer will do. I've already done this. It's really easy. In fact, it's even easier than using the Voxengo plugin. You download it, and then it literally installs it all for you. So you just go through an installer, and by the end, it's done. So there's no dragging files into your VST folder. You'll be pleased to know with that one. And I'll show you how this one works. This will be my final tip before I sign off here. So I'm going to click the cog. You see the cog just above my head? That cog right there. Yeah. Click that, and then click into filters. And we're going to add another VST2 plugin, and we're going to call this, what was the name of the plugin? We'll call it, Brainworks. Brainworks. Okay, so into the cog. Let's go into the cog. Oh, that's funny. Beauty of live. For some reason, my cog isn't working anymore. That's why. That's probably why. Let's do that. So into the cog, we'll call it BX Clean Sweep V2. Okay, V2. And click OK. Now, it won't have made any difference yet because I haven't enabled it and put some settings on, but let's go back into filters. Now we're here. Clean Sweep, open plugin interface again, and we can have a look at what the interface to this plugin looks like. If it's going to play ball with me. It was working earlier, but for some reason, unless it's opened up somewhere in the background, which is quite possible. Let's have a look. Otherwise, I will have to show it to you another time. Oh, it would help if I selected the plugin. That's clearly why it's not working. Come on, Mike. Get your act together. Right, so hang on. Minimize this. Get out of that. Back into OBS Studio. For some reason, I can't get the audio settings up when I load OBS on top. Right, okay. BX Clean Sweep V2. Select the plugin, BX Clean Sweep V2. Open plugin interface. There it is on my screen now. Can you see it up there? So Brainworks BX Clean Sweep V2 is just like a joystick for EQ, which is really, really cool. I really like it. So what I can do now with this wonderful plugin is I can drag the joystick around until I start sounding really good. And in order to do that, where did it go? Bring it back. Hang on. Let's move this out of the way and move this over here. Right. So just move the joystick over here and I roll off all the bass and keep a lot of treble. Over in this direction and I roll off all the treble and you should hear just bass. And then I'll sweep it around. Sweeping around so you can hear all the differences. And you can just move the joystick until you get a sound that you're happy with. Now bear in mind the clean sweep tidies up audio. It doesn't necessarily enhance audio. So if you've got a lot of bass rumble, you could roll it off with the joystick. I'm just going to disable that effect for the moment and keep my Voxengo EQ in. So yeah, it's Clean Sweep is more for cleaning up your audio. The Voxengo GEQ, Marvel GEQ, is more for improving your audio, and the compressor is for making sure that your audio doesn't peak and it has a nice dynamic range so people can hear exactly what you're saying. So there we go, just about to wrap up, but I will give a few shout outs to some more of the comments. Christian says, Mike, my mentor, quick question. How do you master a commercial or radio sweepers to sound professional? I'll show you that in a brand new video, so stick around. Make sure to subscribe. The place to do it is youtube.com/musicradiocreative. That is the main hub to go and subscribe. youtube.com/musicradiocreative. Hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on how to make your microphone or audio sound better in OBS Studio. I'm going to stop streaming now, and I'll be back very soon with more about audio and particularly Adobe Audition.